Hi, I'm Show-ei-mon. On this channel, I share videos where you can carefully follow clothing alterations all the way through to the finished result. They are filmed from the actual worker's point of view, so you can check professional hand movements clearly. Please use them as training videos for those aiming to become professionals. In this video, I'll be shortening the sleeves of a shirt. The before and the after look like this. Let's get started right away. Since I want to finish it in the same style as it is now, I'll note the position of the tucks. I'll note the length from the sleeve placket to the tuck, and the distance between the tucks. First, remove the cuff. Be careful not to cut the fabric. Start unsewing it from the back side. This is because even if you happen to cut the fabric by mistake, there is still a chance you can fix it if it was the back side. This time, I'll use a cutter and small scissors to unsew it. Use a cutter or razor for wider areas, and small scissors for detailed parts. Next, remove the sleeve placket. It is safer to make an opening with small scissors first, then insert the cutter. Lastly, remove the lower placket. Be careful not to lose the button. Now the unsewing is done. Remove the loose threads. To avoid mixing up the left and right sides, secure the cuffs and sleeve plackets at the shoulder area or somewhere similar. Do the same on the other side. Now that it's done, we'll move on to marking and cutting it. Press the sleeve flat with an iron. Match the edges and mark the amount to be shortened. This time, I'm shortening it by 4 centimeters. For the record, this time I'm working with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. In this video, I'm cutting without marking the finished line. But if you want to be sure, mark the finished position as well. Extend the opening as we are shortening the length. Extend the shortening measurement like this. Do the same on the other side. Chalk is hard to see on video, so I'm marking it with a water erasable pen. These pens are useful, but some types have inks that may reappear later on. Please note that they are hardly ever used in professional settings. Now I'll start sewing it. First, sew on the lower placket. Open it, and insert it into the slit. Try to do this naturally, following the way it was when you unsewn it. Align the lower placket with the inner end of the slit. The edge of the sleeve and the edge of the lower placket may not match. But if the difference is around 5 mm, you don't need to worry about it. Each part is made with the lower edge slightly larger, so that the edge does not sag. So, if you sew it on with that in mind, it will be attached properly. The key to finishing shirt sleeve shortening quickly and neatly is to sew the original parts back in their original positions without mistake, keeping their original creases. When I sew shirts and blouses, I use needles for knits, size 9. Many shirt fabrics have a tight weave, so this helps reduce damage to the fabric in case I make a stitching mistake. This needle won't leave many stitch marks, even on typewriter fabric. After sewing the lower placket, press it once with an iron to settle it down. Now, I'll prepare to sew on the sleeve placket. Position it so that the lower placket is neatly hidden when they overlap. If you can tell where the original stitching line was, you can place the needle so that it falls on that line. If you do that, the cuff stitch marks will usually align as well. Use iron double-sided adhesive tape to hold the sleeve placket in place. Tear off about 1 cm of the tape. Lift the tip of the sleeve placket and place it underneath. Make sure the horizontal lines are not misaligned. Then press it with an iron while applying heat. Misalignment of the sleeve placket is easy to see on patterned fabric. But on plain fabric, judge it by the original needle marks and the grain. Now let's sew the sleeve placket on. Cut out the section that overlaps the buttonhole just enough for the fabric to fit. Sew from the cuff side. Before sewing, make the surface all the way to the tip of the sleeve placket as flat as possible. I usually sew it with the right side facing up, but some people find it easier to sew with the shirt turned inside out. Sew on whichever side feels easier for you. The very top of the opening is where distortion happens the most. Try to keep the opening closed as much as possible without pulling it sideways. If it opens even a little, the top of the sleeve placket will become badly distorted. Keep the opening closed around this area as well. This is quite difficult until you get used to it. You may find it hard to get the hang of it until you have done it a few times. With striped fabric, the patterns serve as a good guide. So at first, it may be a good idea to work mainly on striped shirts. For the 2 horizontal rows of stitching, sew by tracing over the original needle holes. Now it is sewn. This is what the back looks like. Do the same on the other side. I think the top of the sleeve placket is easier to see from this side. Now both sleeves have the sleeve plackets attached. Check that the stitching on the back side is not run off. Let's press it with an iron, then move on to attaching the cuffs. I'll start sewing on the cuffs. Compare the width of the cuff with the width of the sleeve. And make the extra amount on the sleeve side into tucks. This time, there is a 7.9 cm difference. Since there were 2 tucks, divide it by 2. That means that this time, the 2 tucks will be about 3.9 cm wide each. Place the tucks in the positions you noted when unsewing. First, measure from the sleeve placket. And make a notch. Next, measure the tuck width calculated earlier. And make a notch here as well. Then measure the distance between the tucks from your notes, make a notch. And finally measure the width for the second tuck and make a notch. This is how the notches should look. Fold it so that the notches for the tuck amount aligns. Then baste it in place. At this point, if you baste it with a slight tilt of 1 to 2 mm toward the side opposite the sleeve placket, the tuck will settle better. Leave 1.5 cm in between and fold the other tuck as well. Check that the lengths match. You can see that it almost matches the cuff measurement. Align the stitching position so that the stitching lines of the sleeve placket and the lower placket do not shift when the cuff is attached. If everything has gone neatly up to this point, it will usually be fine to sew along the original stitch marks. If you align it normally, the edge of the cuff will stick out. So push the tip of the cuff in until the lower placket slightly distorts. It is a bit forceful, but the level difference will not disappear unless you push it in like this. So by tracing the original stitch marks. This is only a measurement by eye, but the seam allowance is about 1 cm. Be sure to mark the finished line beforehand. Once you get close enough to align the edge before sewing further. Push this edge firmly into the cuff as well. If the difference between the cuff and the sleeve is about 2 to 3 mm, it will fit well if you distribute the difference across the whole area. Be careful around the tucks, as the back side can easily fail there. Now it is sewn. The level difference should be fine. The back side is neat, too. Fasten the button and check the whole thing. The attachment positions of the sleeve placket, lower placket, and cuff are all in place. Here's a note about the tuck amount. I said to take the difference between the cuff width and the sleeve width and make it into tucks. But there is also a certain limit to how wide one tuck can be. I think that 4 centimeters is the limit. If it exceeds 4 centimeters, the overlap of the fabric causes the cuff to be pulled widely, and the cuff will start to flare outward. To prevent that, you can either add another tuck in a different place to distribute the amount, or reduce the sleeve width at the sleeve seam. But either way, I think it would require discussion with the customer. Before reattaching the button, press it with an iron. Press the sleeve placket area. And the tuck area. Blend the ridge of the tuck naturally into the fold line of the sleeve. Finally, reattach the button. This time, I will use 4 strands of basting thread to do so. Attach the button using the buttonhole as a guide. Attach it in the same way as the original button. Tuck the thread tail under the knot into the fabric. Do the same on the other side. Many shirts and blouses are white or light colored, so any stain or damage will stand out very clearly. Be careful when working on them, especially while using the iron. Adhesive from interfacing and water used in the iron are particularly dangerous. Take great care to avoid stains and damage. Shortening shirt sleeves like this by moving the sleeve placket would probably take about 45 minutes. If you can do it in under 30 minutes, you could say you are quite skilled. Now it's finished. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel. This was Show-ei-mon.